Hello, everyone. This is Grace with Grace on a Journey Channelings podcast. Welcome to the newcomer. And to those of you returning, thank you for your presence. You're very much appreciated and valued. So today, I was inspired to title this episode When Quote unquote love is spelled hate. When quote unquote love is spelled hate. Now, for the first card, it says graciousness and benevolence. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. And if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the author's name is Aesop. Okay, for the next card, well, actually, I will share a few words on this card before I move forward, although it was a quote, but I can share on it as well. A lot of us are giving. It's natural. It's nothing we had to be taught. Some of us are givers, and there's the other opposite end of the spectrum where there are others who spend most of their lives as takers and they don't have any issues with it. Now, the givers, they usually find themselves overgiving because they're not comfortable with just receiving. And because they're not comfortable with it, one of the reasons being they've been a giver most of their life. So they don't even know what it's like to sit in the seat to receive and to be given something as well. And so balance is something required. And that's what I always share about balance being the fruit of the universe. It's okay to give, and it's also okay to receive. There just needs to be a balance in the process. But the issue arises when you find yourself in pattern, giving in different relationships, not solely romantic. It could be family as well. It could be how you extend yourself at work. It could be how much you volunteer in your church or wherever you worship. There comes a point in life where you do a life review. It usually comes after some type of wake-up call. And then you begin to ask yourself, okay, I don't like this. So what am I going to do to bring change in this situation? Because I'm done with that. Like, I'm tired of being used. I'm tired of always being the one giving. You know, you've reached your limit. And I'm sure all of you heard before that everyone has a limit. I'm being called to tell you, even though you've come across a lot of takers, I'm being called to tell you, don't forget who you are. There are people in your life. There are people that you haven't even met yet that will require some type of give and take with you. And so you need to heal from those relationships of the past that brought you to seasons of self-sacrifice and at times self-sabotage. You take baby steps, but the first step is to acknowledge the part you played in it. The part when you could have said no, but you was in people-pleasing season. Or you could have said no, but you was allowing old programming to step in and lead. Meanwhile, you have a different way of maneuvering through life. You don't see things that way, but you saw that's how things were modeled in front of you. You saw that even if people were in relationships that you would deem toxic, they tried to make it work. Men or women that are of no use, yes, I went there, in relationships are not new to our generation. This have been going on years and years prior to now. And we've seen how those people tried to stick it out. One of the reasons that they would like to always bring up is the fact that, well, because of my faith and we just have to work at it. We just have to do it together. I can only, once you're married, you just have to stay there. You just have to make it work. It's death till death do you part. And, that kind of, I'm trying to find a kind word. Understanding, So I always like to say as well, it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to be where you are because you're not called to change until you feel it inside of you to change. And that's not going to happen until you reach that stage of, okay, this has to stop right now. I'm no longer satisfied with this lifestyle. And so some changes are going to have to be made. But to rewind, I'm encouraging you to still be a giver, but just stay on alert and give and take. Part of being in a relationship is giving and taking. If you feel that, okay, in the past that, I gave and I was taken advantage of, so I'm never going to do it again. Let me be the first to tell you, go see a counselor. Okay? Or go pray. However you do it. Or stick to yourself for now. Wait till you heal. Too many people that are broken are entering relationships and causing others that are healed to regress. That defeats the purpose of even attempting to build. If you're going to invest in a relationship and find yourself going backward, well, you might as well stay where you at. Especially those single parents out there that are doing their best to take care of themselves. And I say themselves because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be there for your kids. So you have to take care of yourself in order for you to come and give your all to your kids, especially when you doing that overtime shift. You understand? So this is something I really feel should be discussed more in all communities. I'm not even targeting our community. I feel in all communities, because all communities have relationships, and we all need to learn how to have healthy relationships, how to not allow, what we've seen as we were growing up, the way things were modeled in front of us, to be guidelines of how to be living in 2022. It's time to catch up. How your mom and how your dad did it is not how it's done. And this is why the input of what your mom says and what your dad says is irrelevant. Yes, I went there. I went there because they're not in the relationship. I went there because you entered the relationship as a quote unquote grown man. I went there because you entered the relationship as a grown woman. You're being called to take a break. Take a break until you can figure it out. When you leave a relationship, take time to meditate. What went wrong? How did I show up? How can I put myself in the other person's shoes? What could I have done differently? What lessons did I learn? How can I honor myself, respect myself, love myself from now on? Because that's the only thing that's the only way that you will find yourself in a momentum of growth when it comes to love. And as I've always shared, God is love. And in order to maintain your high vibration, you must be in alignment with God. How are you in alignment with God when you're not loving yourself? You're not respecting yourself. You're not honoring yourself. You're not improving yourself. Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. We all have moments when we feel as if we've been played as a fool. It's time for you to accept what is, let it go, take it as a lesson, and grow up. Whether you was at fault or not at fault, it's time to grow up. Now, the title was When Love